everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about the stories that I have with all the cats that Kate and I have owned. We've owned a grand total of 4, and this one right here is the only one who has stayed. Hey. So let's just get started with this. You have to remember that Kate and I used to live in a bus. I guess some of you might not know that, but Kate and I lived in a bus that's converted into a little mobile home for the first few months of our marriage. And one day I'll do maybe a bus tour and I'll tell you all about that. But that's not what today's story is about. Today's story is about the 4 cats that we have had and one tragic story about one of them. So first of all, before Kate and I got married, we saw an ad on Facebook Classifieds for a cat, like a little kitten that just needed a home, and I think it was the last kitten in the batch of kittens and nobody had taken it yet. And we saw it, the picture of it, and we immediately fell in love. Kate had always talked about getting a bus cat. Just a cat to run around the bus and to just keep him company. And so we decided we were gonna drive out there just to see if this cat was a good kitty and if we really wanted it. And the moment that Kate held it, he just couldn't let go and he just wanted him so badly. And so we took Craig and we brought him home to his new home, which was the bus. So we had him for a week, and in that time we were working on the bus, getting it into livable shape for when we got married in a few months. We are at this shop that Cade works at sometimes, and Craig had run outside and he was just playing around the bus. He was just having fun. And we needed to back the bus up and turn it around. And so we spent a minute looking for Craig, but we both were pretty confident that he was in the shop because we'd heard him meowing in there just like 2 seconds earlier. And then tragedy happened and he was actually underneath the bus. And he got run over and it was a really, really sad day. I cried the entire day. I felt so bad. It was a mess. And so after that we were like, you know, we'll just wait for a while. We won't get another cat until we're okay a little bit. And so time went on, we got married, and the day we got married we had a reception up here where we live, and then we had a reception down where I grew up. And we were having the reception at my aunt's house. There was a little stray cat that kept running around and they were trying to find somebody to take it, and I convinced Cade that we needed to take it, and so we ended up catching it. It took the entire day to actually track it down and catch it, but we were like, yes, this cat is coming home with us. And we hadn't even named it yet. We were thinking of names on the drive home. So we decided to stop in a little town about 20 minutes out of where we live. And I decided to let this cat out to use the bathroom because it had been cooped up in the car for the past 6 hours. And I wanted to give it a little breather. So we actually had a harness on him and a leash, and he was like tied up, everything was fine, but then somehow he escaped and he bolted across the road. Cade bolted after him and like tried to find him for like 20-30 minutes or something. I don't know how long it was, but we couldn't find him and we ended up having to leave him because clearly he just wanted to be a stray cat. He didn't want to be a pet. And then we got this kitty cat. So So I'd been talking about wanting a cat for a while. This was a few months after we lost the other cat. And we went to Walmart one day, or one evening, and there was this man right outside the doors holding this black kitten. And this kitten, oh my goodness, it was the cutest little black kitten I had ever seen. It had white furs on his back, like he looked like a salt and pepper kitty. And he told us his name was Dusky, and he asked me if I wanted to hold him, and I said yes, I do. And so I was holding him and I was like, oh my goodness, baby, I love you so much, because cats, I love cats. And this guy was like, well, do you want to take him home? And I thought he was joking, but I was like, yeah, obviously. And this guy was like, no, seriously, let me call my wife. We're trying to get rid of it. So he called his wife, and his wife was like, well, I want to say goodbye to him. Like, me and the kids want to say goodbye to him before he leaves. And so he was like, well, we'll meet up next week, and you can have him then. So long story short, we got Cleo. And I didn't really like the name Dusky. I wanted to name him myself, and it took a while for us to name him. And the reason his name is Cleo is because when we first got him, we thought he was a girl. For the longest time, we thought he was a girl. And so I was thinking of a name, and I was like, Cleocatra. And so Cleocatra was his name. And then we realized he was a boy, but he already knew his name. Because believe it or not, cats know their names. At least this one does. And he already knew that his name was Cleo. So then we decided that we wanted to get another cat for Cleo. And I was following a shelter page on Facebook from my hometown, and they posted that there was this cat looking for a home. And it was this white cat, and from the pictures it looked exactly like Cleo, just white, and we decided that we needed to get it. So we adopted him, and we weren't able to pick him up for another month, but we were under the impression that he was healthy and that he was happy, and that we would be picking up an awesome cat that was just a little bit younger than Cleo. This was in February. We drove down to my hometown and we picked up this cat, and upon picking him up we realized that he was really, really sick, and we hadn't been told that he was really sick. In fact, when we got him, he smelled awful. He smelled like he was rotting from the inside out. He was sneezing. He had this goop all over his face. He was just really gross. And the lady who gave him to us told us that he was just having an allergic reaction to all the other cats that he was living with. And that was not true. In fact, this shelter, if you can really call it that, was actually not a good place. There were over 30 animals there, and it was actually being run out of this lady's single-wide trailer. And so there was not enough people taking care of the cats, and not enough support. And so this cat was really sick, and we took him to the vet before we brought him home to Cleo, and the vet just told us, yeah, he has an upper respiratory infection, which we had guessed, and you're just gonna have to let him get better on his own. So we waited, and Cleo got sick, and we waited, and Cleo got better, but Garb didn't. His name was Garbanzo. We named him Garbanzo. We called him Garb. He didn't get better, and then one day he just got drastically worse, and I knew that he was gonna die. And Cade came home for lunch and held him, and Garb ended up dying in Cade's arms, and it was so sad. We went and buried him, and we had him for like 2 weeks. And luckily Cleo's resilient. I mean, he was really depressed for a while, but he pulled through, and so that's my story. So in other words, make sure before you're adopting a cat, you know exactly what you're getting into. Make sure you know that it's healthy, and if it's not healthy, make sure that you are equipped to take care of it. Thank you for watching, you guys. Hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.